Wales. A very good morning to you, and lovely to welcome you onto the show again.
Bore da, and it's lovely to speak to you today from the south of the constituency, from the south of the county. I'm in Saundersfoot, so it's lovely. I'm taking a couple of days off, and I knew I couldn't go too far because my mum's not terribly well, so I may have to rush back to St David's. So I'm having a lovely time, actually, just exploring and meeting people in this part of the county.
It's just nice to get away sometimes, isn't it? Change of scenery can do a lot to change your perspective in everyday life.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, there's a lot of Labour Party, and there's absolute recognition we've got lots of work to do before the Senedd election. So, but you know, we're confident we've got a lot of work if we want to bounce back, but we've done it before. So in 2019, we had about 15% of the vote in the European elections, but later that year, we bounced back to 40%. So it is possible, but it is going to be really challenging. But we've got work to do, and having time to reflect on, right, how do we do this is quite good. So I've had an interesting time. I'm, you know, wandering around the south of the county. I went to St Govan's Chapel yesterday, and which is lovely, but it's funny how lots of people get really frustrated when they see roadworks. I have a party because I know that means that my potholes are being fixed, and even as far down as St Govan's Chapel, they were filling potholes. That's what people wanted me to do, and that's what we're delivering on. So it's great to see work being done here, and later on in the week I'll be opening some new houses in this part of the world.
It is non-stop for you, and yeah, mentioning there that by-election, the work that you've been very open about the work that's still ahead of you. So we'll see what happens over the coming months. And I had a very practical question related to the outcome of that. Is what happens to all the offices in the Senedd? Does everyone have to move up one to make way? How does that work?
Well, actually, that's thankfully not a job for me. That's a job for the Senedd. And it's probably worth just explaining the difference between the Senedd and the Welsh Government. So the Senedd is made up of all of the members, irrespective of what party you're in. But the Welsh Government is made up of the party that holds the majority. And you know, it's not the Welsh Government decides how those offices are organised, but so it's up to the Senedd, which is the kind of the broader organisation, which is not political, to organise things. But most offices are grouped by party, so obviously the Labour members are close together. But you're right. You know what happens now? Well, obviously they'll have to reshuffle a little bit. Space is really quite tight. And obviously, at the moment, they're in the process of redesigning the buildings, because at the moment we've got 60 members and we're about to go to 96. So there's already a lot of work being done anyway in reconfiguration.
It's going to be quite the squeeze, actually, because they're not going to be adding extensions anytime soon, I don't imagine. So that'll be one to look out for next year as well.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of work underway at the moment already, and obviously they're already working on enlarging the Senedd. And you know, I think it's probably worth emphasising again the reason why there's going to be an expansion to the Senedd. It's because actually we've got the smallest parliament in the United Kingdom. So if you look at Northern Ireland, they've got about 90 members, and they've only got about 1.5 million people. We've got 3 million people and 60 members. And actually, once you take all the people who are in the government out, you've got very few people left to really scrutinise us as members of the government. So a couple of weeks ago, they had to cancel a meeting because actually, you know, there's a lot of flu about, there's a lot of COVID about, and, you know, there's only about 5 or 6 people on each committee. Well, if 3 of them are off with flu, that's it. You can't hold a meeting. It's done. So that it's a really practical issue of getting the place to function properly.
Yeah, and thank you very much for that insight. So people understand what's actually happening in the Senedd over in Cardiff, closer to home. Last week we were looking at the practicalities of hospital provision, the getting the right staffing, getting the right equipment through here. And whilst we were live on air last week, we had Samantha and Danny get in touch, and they were looking at not just the physical health, but the mental health provision here in West Wales and in Pembrokeshire, and about how it's run and how can it be improved, and whether it's on your radar. I know there's been promises of fundraising and more income coming into the service over the last, well, probably 5 to 10 years since I've been involved in third sector organisations. Where are we with that, with improving mental health provision here in West Wales?
Look, I just think it's really important that people, like, obviously, in particular when someone's in a mental health crisis, the last thing they should have to do is to fight to be seen or to explain their story over and over again. So that's why we're changing how the whole system works, moving towards open access, same day model care, so that people can get the right help first time without all the waiting and referral barriers. Because what we know is if you get help early, you're less likely to
Oh, the signal over half term, Gina, seems to be causing an issue.
Concerns. And I know Samantha wants to know about. Can you hear me?
Yeah, back
Yeah,
now.
can now, yeah.
I know. Sorry about that. I know Samantha wants to know about Broke Heroin, and I know things have been difficult there. I know people are struggling, and they deserve that care that's consistent, that's compassionate, that's close to home. Now, obviously, the day-to-day running of Broke Heroin sits with the health board, but my job nationally is to make sure mental health services are, unlike in England, we've got what they call a ring fence amount of money for mental health. This doesn't happen in England. We've kind of, we make sure that it's the biggest part of the Welsh NHS budget. It's about 10% of our entire NHS budget, which is a lot, is ring fenced for mental health. So, because we do think it's important that it has equality of esteem when it comes to the way we care for people, physical or mental. And, you know, we've got a system, this 111 Press 2 system, more.
I think we're being beaten here, Gina, but by connection issues. I think
the online service. So there's all kinds where we can get help straight away. And we've got targets. So actually the targets for about 95% of young people, it used to be really bad. It's a lot better now. About 95% of young people are seen within the 28-day target. And then, you know, that's for an assessment, and then an intervention is a 28-day target after that. And again, we're up to very high figures, hitting the 90s for young people, but, you know, even hitting the 90s for adults. And so, you know, things are improving. We know there's a long way to go, but the key thing is get in there early. And that's why we're trying to develop, and this will be something, if we win the next election, we will have that commitment to open access, same day care without having to wait. And it's that kind of immediate access, I think, is important.
So a pledge there from Welsh Labour voted back in.
It's that human
same day care. And I know that recently you've been spending time with the third sector, who also provide services to those that might be in that current waiting list, that current waiting structure. You've been with Megan Starr Foundation there in Milford Haven. Gina, I think the half-term gremlins have beat us this time.
Yes, I think so. Well, a very, very big thank you for taking time out in half term to Eluned Morgan this morning. Thank you very much for joining us. And we're going to be back again next Wednesday. So if you've got any questions for our MS for Mid and West Wales, then please do send them through. You can send them in on the email studio@purewestradio.com.
And if you are someone that needs support, the numbers she was giving there's online resources. There's you can call 111 option 2 for provision there. And we were going to talk about her visit to the Megan Starr Foundation just a moment ago. I wonder if we've got it back very quickly. But Megan Starr Foundation, Eluned, can you hear us okay?
Hello.
We're still live on the radio.
Yeah, it's not a good signal, is it?
It's not great. But do you want to give us an overview as to your visit to Megan Starr?
Yeah, it was a wonderful visit, and they've got a fantastic facility down in Milford Haven in the dock area. A facility for young people to go in, get support. What happened with Megan is she took her own life at a very young age, and that ripple effect really makes a difference. And her mum has taken it upon herself to use that real tragedy and to turn it into something positive. And what she's doing is creating space so that young people can get together, they can find meaning, that they can hang out. And it's a wonderful facility. So I would encourage people, particularly in that area, young people, to use that facility and to reach out for support, because we know a lot of young people are struggling at the moment, but the support is available there, not just through the NHS, but also through third sector organisations like Megan Starr.
Eluned Morgan, thank you so much for joining us. How's the next 7 days looking for you before you introduce your next track for us?
Well, it's always a busy time, but as I said, I'm opening some new housing development in the south of the county in the next couple of days, and then I'll be going up to Cardigan because there's another music festival, the Other Voices Festival, which is another great festival. You've got Griff Rees playing there, Melon, and it's a link with Ireland as well, so that's going to be an important event. And then back to the Senedd then next week, where we've got a whole load of things going on. We're actually going to be holding our cabinet meeting in Merthyr on Monday, so that will be it's important, I think, for us to get out and about to make sure that people recognise that, you know, we're looking after every single part of Wales.
Thank you so much. We look forward to catching up with you and finding out how your week has been next week. And if you've got a question for the member of Senedd for Mid and West Wales, then you can send that to us now. As Gina mentioned just a moment ago, you've got another track for us following on from Fionn Regan. What have you got next for us in a few moments' time?
I think this is level 42, isn't it?
It is.
Excellent.
It's on the way next. Thank you so much for your time as ever. Enjoy your new surroundings, and we look forward to catching up next week.
Diolch yn fawr.
Wonderful Wednesday, sponsored by Price and Calway Solicitors, celebrating